everybody. The first week of Geoff Lawton's online permaculture design certificate course is officially over. This week focused solely on an introduction. And I'd like to share with you a few of the things that I took away from this week's course. It being an introduction, there was a lot of information this week about the 3 principal ethics of permaculture, why they are important, and how we employ them. But I want to share with you a few of the things I took away that actually came from some of the extras in the course. The question and answers video from the previous class in 2013, and also the tour around Zantuna Farms. One of these takeaways you've already seen me put into use. You see, in the question and answers for the class in 2013, somebody asked the question about how large of an area did you need to be entirely self-dependent so that you could have all your closed-loop systems strictly on your land. And if you've watched our channel for some time, you know that that has always been my mindset. I wanted to be able to pretend the rest of the world didn't exist and just live on my farm if I had to. Well, Geoff's answer was a bit rebuking. He talked about how in permaculture we always look for a return of surplus. And in our lives, we don't spend all of our time on our properties, that we have to do something outside of that area. And as such, since we are expending energy and producing positive effects outside of our actual site, that we should expect to receive a return of surplus back into our site from off-site. And I needed to hear that. That was something to tell me that I needed to move forward and think outside of that box that I had put myself in. And if you have seen that I am participating in this giant pumpkin grow-off that another channel is doing, then you see that I've already brought in some off-site compost and other materials so that I could better prepare my soil for that contest. And as I move forward, I know I'm going to be able to provide more of those things for our farm because we do have 7 acres and a lot of possibility here. But for now, I think having the mindset of receiving that return of surplus from off the property and making sure that I am still providing a positive input outside of my property, that's going to help give us the start that we really need. The next lesson I really took away was from the tour at Zantuna Farm. I have always been stuck on the idea that I wanted to do direct seeding and nothing else. If I couldn't just drop seeds in the soil and cover them over, then I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted the easy life of gardening or nothing else. And I presumed that that was essentially the idea behind permaculture. Let Mother Nature drop the seeds and let it grow up from the soil, nothing else. And then I noticed in the Zantuna Farm video that they not only had a greenhouse, but a grow out house and a hardening off area. And that really socked me in the gut. Then I saw that on the same property, they're doing aquaculture, raised bed gardening, and a whole bunch of other things I've been avoiding. Now I'm going to say aquaculture, but that's really just because I don't get that. I'm working on understanding how that system actually gets set up. Watching the Zantuna Farm video really made another line that Geoff used during the course of the week stick out. And I can't quote it to you exactly, but he was explaining about a situation where he was brought in as a consultant for a large event, for a large group. And he was the lead consultant. And a point came where he was able to ask the person who brought him in why they brought him in. What benefit did they expect for him to be able to contribute? Because there were so many other renowned consultants on the project. And they said that it was his ability to say that all of the options could work. That there wasn't just a singular way of doing something and no other option was available. It was his permaculture mindset of saying all of those things can work. We just need to find out where in the system they are going to fit and tie them all together so they can benefit each other. That's paraphrasing his comments, but I think it's a fair representation of what he said. And putting those two things together, actually hearing him say that in the classroom, and then seeing the Xantuna Farm video where all these different things are brought together, from just regular row cropping in a diverse annual kitchen garden, if you will, to having the greenhouse and all of its components, to having the aquaculture in a raised bed garden situation, really brought to heart that I needed to be more diverse, not just in my cultivars and in my plant varieties, but also in my methodologies. And as I thought about it more, the more it made sense to me, not just as a methodology of design, but also from its economic standpoints. I started to realize that we have a farmer's market in our area that opens up in April. It's a very early time of the year for a farmer's market. But if I had a greenhouse, I'd be able to start my own plants and sell starts and seeds from the previous year at the local farmer's market. I realized that the more of these design components that we had on our property, we could bring people to the site for educational courses, and that would be something that would help self-fund the property. You know, there was one beautiful analogy that Geoff did, and I'm not going to go into the great big detail explaining it because he did a good job and it would take a 10-minute video to try to reproduce it. But essentially he said that permaculture is not a single thing. It's not a matter of doing how to do a raised bed garden or how to do aquaculture. It's a matter of taking those things and stacking them. And his analogy was a wardrobe or a closet, and how you have hangers in the closet, and you can take each of these different methodologies or approaches and put them on a hanger and stack them next to each other in a closet. And it's the matter of how do we arrange them? Where in the closet do they fit best? What other systems should they be next to? How should they be arranged? And of course, you don't just have hangers in your closet, you probably have a shelf or maybe some boxes, and there was some more analogy to go along with that. But then he also mentioned having a mirror. And you open up the door, maybe on the back side of the door there's a mirror. And once you've dressed yourself, you take a look in that mirror and decide whether or not the design has actually worked. And then you decide to go back, reassess, reevaluate, and then proceed forward on the design again. And I thought that was a really good analogy for me to understand how exactly I'm supposed to use these different methods in my approach to design this site. So Geoff, I appreciate week one. I've already taken away a lot of good information and opened up my mind to these concepts a good deal more. Week two is entitled Concepts, and I look forward to coming back next week and talking to you all about that then. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.